there's nothing good about selfishness. And, when you look at things, come on, turn off. There we go. When you look at things and you think to yourself, well, the good thing that came out of this. No, you can't look at it that way. Well, life's eternal and grace is infinite. Truth's always truth. Faithful love is always perfect. And anytime that's not understood, spoken, and shared and lived, then you can't say, well, the good that came out of this, because there's not. Okay, there's not any good coming out of this. We have female referees in professional sports. We have female announcers for men's sports, because we've had men referees and men announcers in men's sports for a long time. And people will fight like hell to make a lot of money to go shopping and won't stand up for the sacrifice and the truth of the Messiah. And it happens over and over again. And every time it gets either marginalized or cartoonized. But that's bad. It's not good. And we have technology that can assess our existence scientifically, mathematically, historically pick apart all the make-believe bullshit used to manipulate people to being egomaniacs or just accept their fate, that egomaniacs are always going to manipulate and abuse people and see it as dominance because it's survival of the fittest, and they're stupid and insane, right? They'll dress up in designer clothes and they'll show up at fashion shows, and an exercise event will break out and they'll all feel really smart and sexy doing it. See those earbud commercials, guys dancing around. It's like, we live in the Lord's Prayer. What you fucking dancing for then, bitch? Stop acting like a bitch. It pisses you off. You're walking down to check the mail. Your body is just holding on for dear life because nobody wants to be known for cancer. Well, then stop poisoning people. And less people will be known for the cancer cells shutting them down because you're a fucking asshole. Right? You're a medicine company, huh? Medicine, huh? You need the tonic of nature, and we live. That's your face fucking talking, right? I'm not going to ask your forgiveness for cussing your fucked up ass out. You're going to have to ask me for forgiveness for being abused by your fucked up face talking all the time and people doing the fucked up things you talk about. Your mind is squirming like a toad. If you give this perception of a human being a ride, sweet memory will die. All right? Girl, you gotta love your man. The world on you depends, that life will never end. Gotta love your man. If it wasn't for love, you fuckers would have mass murdered each other off the face of the planet a long ass fucking time ago. And we wouldn't have to worry about your clones or your robots running around turning into flying cats in New York, right? Jerks. I'm tired, man. Commercials for food being held hostage and everybody's happy. Driving and carbon emissioning, car cancer and diabetes and disease causing thing, and everybody's happy. They're training little kids to go to wonder amusement parks to be distracted by superficial insanity, and everybody's happy. I tell you, using children in advertising, boy, you dirty, rotten fucking bastards. Well, we have technology now that's quantum to collect all the evidence. Apparently, it's been doing so since probably the turn of the millennium. So it's been about 26 years. They're supposed to solve all our problems with their great inventions, and we still have the same problems, only they're probably worse now than they were before. Because before, there was such an excuse. There was an excuse to, because, I didn't know who Detiro Suzuki was. I didn't know who Haile Selassie was. I didn't know who Judah Krishnamurti was. I knew who Darwin Gross was. I knew who Spencer J. Kimball was. Didn't want to, but ended up having to. You know who the president is. A bunch of psychotic morons that believe money's real will fight in contest over killing each other over money for the contest and then bitch and gripe about what an asshole the president is if they didn't vote for him in that contest, but it's their president and a reflection of their asshole. Two assholes get together and fight and argue over money. And whichever asshole wins get to be that asshole for 4 years, and the assholes get to sit there and go, our asshole would be the best asshole if it wasn't for you assholes getting in the way of his best asshole. Yeah. When are we going to get a her asshole? Britain already did. They had Margaret Thatcher naked on a cold day. Lots of queens of England. The United States of America. The bastion of freedom. We never had a vagina asshole to tell us how to kill people over money with her vagina asshole. You know, just talking. It's horrible, isn't it? Yeah. God, you guys are terrible human beings. I was sitting there thinking about it. If they kill me and all these celebrity types come around to meet the kid that is the spirit of this man, it's like, really? You would go and introduce yourself to that child after you tortured to death the spirit of the beautiful man that has you living the Lord's Prayer right now to come and say, come, let us adore this kid. Really? Fuck. Something rock to the planet rock. Don't stop. Fucking creeps. You're horrible, man. You know, how do you wake up and brush your teeth in the morning if you're a very, 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 very important, powerful, rich person, and you obviously know who the fuck I am? How do you brush your teeth in the morning without killing yourself with your own toothbrush? Drowning yourself in your own toilet? You must be a really sick individual, right? And it's terrible. Oh, you're not supposed to commit suicide. No, you're not. You're supposed to submit to faith in the glory of God, and you're supposed to love one another in eternal faithful peace. And killing yourself is a sin because you're given life by the glory of God and not the delusions of your murdering ego. You're still thinking about killing yourself with that toothbrush and drowning yourself in that toilet? Well, the only reason you'd kill yourself with the toothbrush and drown yourself in the toilet is if you thought we were going to live the Lord's Prayer and you wouldn't be able to have your fun anymore. We're the Wickersham Brothers. We know your type. There'll be no more talking to who are not. Bahoo Yelp, Bahoo Doors, Bahoo Doors. Welcome Christmas, Bahoo Doors. Dumbasses. I'm cranky. Yeah. I hate watching these commercials with the fucking, we want us to be known for cancer. And the suffering. I have to shop at Walmart, okay? Most of the people that are being killed because of pollution and toxins in your local metropolises and suburbs of the metropolises, okay, live near the freeways for convenience to life and death at Walmart. They work at Walmart. It's all they can afford. All right, that's where they shop. So I keep company with the people that I try to keep safe from the people that mass murder them. And they're respectful to me, and most of them are kind to me. And they listen, and the kids smile, and they say hello. And they see you walking my way, that really makes my day. I wish I could grab you and tell you what it means to me to see you walk my way, Yeah. Love your smiles. All you poor people out there doing on the right to 9 to 5 to keep yourselves out of trouble, not becoming a psychotic murderer like all the psychopaths that work in the classified security clearance bullshit artistry of egotistical delusions of whatever they call it. I don't know what they call it. You just get fucking sick of hearing it, man. I heard that stuff, you hear it real loud. I'd rather listen to Schuler and I don't know about you, so. But Schuler and his wife going, amen. That's it, honey. Get them sending the money in on the subscribe and like to our YouTube. We need more advertising dollars. Hey, man, I'm going shopping at Neiman Marcus. She's going shopping at Neiman Marcus. She loves Jesus. She's a good girl. You're funny. Hey, man. And they're walking back with the mail, looking at all the trash and going, it's pretty much the political parties in the United States, okay? You have the Democrats. Be a homosexual, don't reproduce. Adopt kids from Republicans and train them to destroy their capacity to sexually reproduce so they'll just enjoy orgasms without children. Or just be a homosexual and don't reproduce, and then raise old school kids that mass murder the poor people for the rich people to maintain the status quo, so you can have political parties hate each other, talk shit about each other, and have sex and kill and die. Wow, don't forget your drugs and your electroshock therapy, healing hearts, healing minds. That's a woman's buttocks, you know that, right? Remember we learned that from Sheldon on The Big Bang Theory. What's a woman's buttocks, you know, upside down, like on average white band. Pick up the pieces. Oh yeah, pick up this. Ba-na-na-na, da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na. Cut the Cake is also good. Yeah, it's a good one too. I have both of them on me MP3. But yeah. It's terrible that people get excited about people making money to go shopping and completely deny the perfection of a Messiah. Messiahs are so brave. They're so consistent. They're so strong. There's more than one. We know Malachi is Messiah. We know, Jonah, Job, They're the ones that come with the perfection of the immaculate faith eternally, and it transcends their physical existence and goes on through one child born in this world to carry on. Yeah. And so, not scared of dying. I do care. I do care about living and dying. I hate people suffering, through this insanity needlessly. Guys, it's hard to really speak that way. Needlessly. Apparently everything is happening for a reason, so it needs to happen. Because you're given a choice, to love or not to love, to fuck and fight or to love and share, and you choose fuck and fight over love and share, and call it loving and sharing if your side wins. But if your side loses, oh, that sucks, but we'll be back next year to kick your ass so we can love and share and you can fight and fuck. And okay, just live the Lord's Prayer. Isn't it all technically fighting and fucking? If you're not living the Lord's Prayer, if you're not forgiving debt and trespass, if you're not sharing what you need with tender love and care, makes life worth living. Tender love and care, that's what I'll be given. Every day, every night to you, when you're wrong, when you're right, when you're blue. Yeah. It used to be hard watching basketball. Because I was so smooth and so good when I was young. And what made it not fun was my teammates would mostly sabotage me. And my coaches were totally abusive because they were jealous. Because I could explain to them when they were wrong. I didn't explain it. I held off until they got really abusive. I would just do and then just try to, just fit in and then just slowly, kind of sneak in little, Oddfellows Local 151 behind the fire spout, pearls of wisdom falling from his mouth, Pee-wee sits upon the wall to preach. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So you just kind of slowly tried to work your way through it. You got to walk gently around the little fucked up egos and you try. And then it gets to the point where I think there's a cognition. The pheromones, past, present, future operate at the same time. This is a guy like King David. I'm a Roman putz and a murdering asshole and a shithead. And he thinks he saw that. Well, technically, he is, right? Isn't he all that? If he's the living embodiment of the Lord's Prayer and you've accepted fighting and fucking and murder over the truth of the commands of the Lord, isn't he all that? Tell me about it, stud, right? I got chills, they go to pliers. Patrick used to sing that. And I'm losing control. Tired, man. It's not a good thing that I come here on a daily basis, largely anonymously, and clean up, cute little faces, making food hostage commercials fun. Look, this is one of the stupidest commercials on the whole planet. At least on that other one, you're eating something, makes you feel good. Driving a car to destroy your environment and celebrate mass murder over the resources and writing words down on a piece of paper and calling it law. You just want to walk up to them and go, I'm a peaceful person. And the only way I can teach people the ways of King David is if I take your technology and get it to reflect me instead of your stupid talking face. Go eat a McMuffin with a hash brown on it, right? Fucking crazy. They are. Stop smiling when you play extortionist money for food. And King David's Israel, King Solomon's Israel, Muhammad's Mecca, and Haile Selassie is Ethiopia, which is why they always had to shut it down. What happened? Well, he had a lot of mercenaries in his army and stuff, just like, what happens with a lot of them. Like I told you about the guy in Mecca, you're too hot. Like they told Natalie, you're too hot to be hanging out with people like that. Tell them you're too nice of a person to be hanging out with them. But you're too hot to be cleaning toilets, man. You're too hot to be like those two guys with Miriam. When she said, no, Parsons, it's my turn to empty the flush truck, because I would always get the honey buckets because I didn't want them to break on her. It was just logistics. She was 5'2". I'm almost 6 feet tall. So I said, no, Miriam, I always got this. I'll tie them up. I don't want it to possibly break and spill on you. It's not really being it's not a chivalry thing. It's just logistics, And then she could say it's logistics when dumping the flush truck because she's 5'2" and she can look under there and spot it up better and pull the handle better because she's shorter. And yeah, you're funny, Montalvo. That's why I loved her so much. Those two black guys standing there, a woman like that is too hot to be doing stuff like that. And I was like, no, that's what makes her beautiful. She's beautiful. She's like the one that will take care of grandma when she gets older and clean up all the stuff that grandma's apologizing for and saying, no, grandma, don't worry. You changed my diaper as a kid. That's the type of woman she is. She's so beautiful. I just, see you walking my way. That really makes my day. Before I go to sleep and dream about you. I wasn't a single man, so I couldn't, but she'd just lie there in her little flush, there, the thing, outfit thing that we'd have when we had a lot in the truck. She'd get tired, and she'd lay on the couch, and I could see myself behind her spooning her, and then I'd tell myself, Earl, you're engaged. To commit the sin in the mind is the same as commit it in the flesh. Yeah, it is. And Yolanda felt that. Yeah. Yolanda's been screwing around at the club. That's why I'm thinking this. It's hard, man. I know how hard it is. I've been through all that. I was having lots of I was listening to music today, and one of them was one that Law said reminded her of us. And that was a song called Here We Are by Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan. And yeah, I remember, she would cry. No, she got real emotional about us, and it was hard for her to handle. Me, they've been trying to hunt me down and kill me as a baby for thousands and thousands of years. We gotta live the Lord's Prayer. I got things to do. I'm not afraid of dying, baby. And I remember she would get upset about things, and we'd talk about things because, I remember Ray, I saw a guy with the color of hair and skin like Ray Andrews, what would Dr. King do? And she knew I was that type of person, and she didn't want me to be, because she didn't want me to be so good that all the bad people would kill me, because she didn't want me to be taken away from her. And she broke up with me because I was a loser, and it wasn't because I was a loser, it was because she knew what type of person I was, and she knew how bad selfish people were, and she knew I wasn't afraid of them at all. Steffi would freak out about it too. Amy completely checked out, but Amy used to sit in bed when she was running around. She'd go on her bipolar episodes and screw around. She'd say, I'm like Sybil, I don't know what I'm doing. I have no control of my thoughts, and I can't control myself, and I can't stop doing these things, they're selfish and stuff. Yes, you can. You got Natty and Noe, and they're so cute. You can do it, Amy. And then because that kept happening, we kept adding more. If there's one thing that we don't need is another hungry mouth to feed in the ghetto. And, it really makes you understand Yolanda and Stephanie and Raquel a lot better. Because with Raquel, there was a group called Surface that came out, and they had a song called Lately, and that song reminded me of her. you know. And so, and I would sit there and, every time I listened to it, I can remember being a 20-year-old young man with a girl who said she was 17, but she was 16. and just thinking about her all the time. I'd be going to work and she'd be on the back of my mind. It's mostly just the back of my mind. Me, because I'm a guy, we got things to do, to be doing. And then when something came up romantic or whatever, because I'm the type of guy, when I'm in a relationship, I ain't got time to discuss the weather, how long it's going to last. Well, I'm still thinking about anything but my baby. And I'm not really that way. I mean, she's at the back roads by the rivers of my mind. She's, I'm proud to be your man and I love you all I can. But baby, don't be looking in my mind. And these people that study me and study my brain activity, they see me as this cold person. And it's like, it's because you're selfish. It's because you're selfish, and I have to be the focal point of correcting your selfish inventions and activities. So they perceive me as cold. It's like, well, you're just seeing life's eternal, grace is infinite, all things being relative. You're seeing you through me. Only I'm way more gorgeous, protecting, and kind, and everybody in their right mind knows how much I love babies, right? So, it's been interesting, though, man. It's been an interesting day. Yeah, I've had a lot of things. I turned on the music a bit and sat and listened. And I tell you this, though, I do not like Antoine LaVey and Michael Aquino. They're very jealous people that want to replace the line of me as the standard of male behavior to protect women and children from selfishness. Just give in to the selfishness. Satan will always be here, even if it comes in the form of a beautiful woman. Antoine LaVey didn't even know what beautiful is. Okay, Michael Aquino didn't have a clue of what beautiful is. They were very selfish, jealous people that saw people like them turn me into a cartoon invention, change the stories of eternal life through people like me, in order for selfish people to try to turn the unselfish person into a selfish person, to try to turn the caring and kind person into a selfish person who turns the glory of God into anything that his fancy or whim desires. No, I understand my dad wanting, Jesus to. He's always been that way. Jesus has always been his comfort zone, his protector. Where he goes to when everything gets hard. But at least he asks for help when he's doing something selfish, and he asks Jesus to help him. Which is a lot more than I can say for a lot of you people that, have your gender changed and get your Discovery for prep and start fucking people in the ass and think it's the best sex life in the history of your life, out of sight and in the trunk of a car, right? And Arby's, we got the meat, right? And so, just remember, who you are. You're a human being. And you need to keep reminding yourself that you're not an animal, and that your tech support abuses beautiful people to try to get them to be perceived as evil. Okay. And I ain't never been evil a day in my life. Okay. Ronnie and Mr. Ponce, that kid, man. He can have the worst evil shitheads studying his every move, having a virtual presence, be constantly present, and he can still get through. And there's no fairies cheating on the test. He's talking to Jesus. He's the eternal spirit of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John. He's not cheating on the test. He's reminding himself good, and he's not being bad. He's reminding himself of himself because he's tired of putting up with you. Satan, devil. It's true. So there's nothing so because I know. Oh man, I'm tired. Is this the first, because there's no records underneath Portland and Orlando. I'm wondering if this is the first summer league game for both these groups of kiddos. Oh, ouch. All right. But, yeah, kiddos, playing basketball for money. I would think that in the future, you just play in regions. You go to where you like to live and you go play club teams in regions like they used to do in Canada and the States before the NFL and the CFL and the DFL and the doo-dah-doo and the dee-dah-dee-dee and the boo-dah-diddy-diddy-dee. And you have regional teams and you just, have ecologically friendly ways to get around and go to the games, and you'll have time, if you want to do that, if you so inclined and so desire. And then have the playoffs, and then at the end, have centrally located or rotate the centrally located. Well, that would be the best for people that all want to come see it, but that may not be too fair for east and north and far east, far north, and far west, and far, south and southeast. May not be too fair that you'd always have a centrally located thing for the finals, because that would be too much of an advantage for the Midwestern and centrally located teams. So maybe you would have to go on a rotating, schedule, and things like that. And then, just like I said, you guys, long time ago, you needed to put those monorail things I talked about when I was working at Southwest Airlines and all that. It should have already been put in, and parked all the airplanes and stopped putting all the jet fuel in the clouds. And should have listened to Parsons back when Greenspan's an idiot, and I'll tell you why. I was so far ahead intellectually of the people that were at the school that I was going to pay money to be a educator 2 years. I didn't take economics. I hated economics. I hated science, hated economics, and hated mathematics because they were so abusive and genocidal. And I didn't want to get in the class because, I could explain, Sam would just freak. He just, wow, this guy. He just, no, here's what you should be doing, and here's what makes more sense. He'd just break it all down and explain it. And that was just brief content with what Sammy would tell me and what just I would observe and analyze through my, because, if, like I always just tell people, pilots don't want to fly, neither do I. The people, we can't fly. I say, if a pilot doesn't want to fly, neither do I. If that guy does not want to take the plane up in the air, why would you want to go up? You have to be there. You're just going to have to get across to people, better alive than dead. And if someone can't fly, so, and that's where they set up those things. Well, you shouldn't have gone on the trip. You shouldn't have done this. And that's just why we should have had those monorail things that I talked about back then 30 years ago. Okay, 30 years ago. When was it when I was telling Sammy about those? Wasn't it in, 96? Something like that. Okay, is that 30 years ago? Yeah, that's 30 years ago. They should have started building them 30 years ago. There you go. Okay. Take a while to build them. Yeah. But, I just looked at it and said, wow, it's very intelligent, and it cuts down the butterfly effect. You could also have it in that tube, and, they have subways and all that, but you could have it in that tube, and then you could sit there and have, even, it wouldn't mess with animal migrations. You could have parts on it with a tube where you could have, land, bridges going over it and stuff. Just really cool stuff that you could do. That you could build the land bridges with, bulldozers and stuff, just moving some dirt around and stuff, but keep it within the topography of the rolling hills and stuff like that. And, take down the part of the land that has to come through it, and then put the dirt back over it and let the grass grow over it. Where you have Oklahoma, where the wind come rolling down the plain. Look at the ecology of it, and put a lot of thought and, share care, given the courtesy built to last, a lot of thought and intelligence and integrity into the structure, because it's going to be built to last, and your family will be using it. You're not on a time schedule. You're just doing it right. And money's not real, so you want to do it right, because this is going to be something that will be able to be utilized by human beings to make the world a better place to live in till the end of time. So that's how you build something. That's how you share a caregiver. That's how you think like King David's boy Solomon. So, oi. Earl's tired. Earl's very tired. He cussed you out. Of course, you need it, you little bastards. I'm sick of your bullshit. I keep telling people that. You do not sit there when people, abuse you, ignore you, treat you like shit. I'm tired of people dying from cancer. I'm tired of people being poisoned to death. I'm tired of you assholes raising make-believe money to put into cancer research and then have us all sit and have to indulge in listening to your stupid, dysfunctional sex life fantasies. Like old, what's that dumbass's name? Curtis Jackson? You better watch this. Shut up, motherfucker, man. You talk too fucking much. All you do is front and lie. You need to just shut the fuck up. You as dumb as the people they elect president. You probably got even more money now. You acting like Tyler Perry's other, cross-dressing auntie and shit, man. Shut up. Gets on my last fucking nerve, man. Okay, no, 0-2 is Portland and 2-1 is Orlando. There's the records. Okay, they playing basketball. Take it to the hoop, yo. I like Curtis Blow, too. Yeah, those were the days when those weren't the days. Every day wasted on selfishness and narcissism, as you guys were label it or refer to it, but it's a pretty decent label for your stupidity. It describes it pretty well. Every day wasted on your delusions is a day of love taken from children. And that's gross. It's absolutely gross. I don't know why you guys aren't fucking sick of it. You go to these buildings, they train you to be a competitive, narcissistic dumbass who's successful at marketing and selling and hoarding and doing all this stupid stuff we've talked about thousands of times on this channel. And going largely ignored. Hey man, Rockefeller hated you. So did Rothschild. They have quantum computing. They refer to me as the 13th, 22nd Redeemer in Islamic prophecy. I'm the eternal spirit of the line of Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, and John. The guy from the wrote down the book of Revelation in the cave in North Africa by talking to the person that was the one that was alive when we performed the apocalypse to stop Armageddon and have us living the peace of the apostles globally, like I discussed. That sweet little mommy and her daughter at the cheese aisle. It's cheese. No, not Borat. Nice mom. She had a shirt on that's Create and all this stuff. And I was like, I gotta tell her this, because the people had fucking her for t-shirts and her for imprint.com stuff. So need their asses kicked with the cell phones everybody's holding in this this Walmart. Yes, they do. Hey man, when you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You've got to try a little kindness. And the little girl needed to hear that. She needed to hear that the apocalypse is a good thing. It's a restoration of the teachings of the men like Jesus and the women that love men like Jesus and live world peace through immaculate faith and faithful love through holy covenants. Children need to hear that, especially the girls. The girls need to know, because they're the hen that rocks the cradle. They're the one that carries the baby and has the placenta. And, they need to know that there's hope, that their children will stop being murdered and abused. And, they need to know. Women need love. And they've been being raped and turned into superficial shopping dumbasses that keep having to be fucked by murderers for too damn long. And I'm fucking sick of it. Okay? Everybody in their right mind, if they don't understand how much I love babies, you better get in your right mind, because I'm fixing that fucking technology so it's no longer fucking technology as rapidly as I can. Every time I pick up this phone and we wait for all these slowpoke Rodriguez's and their pistols to not be Speedy Gonzalez to the Lord's Prayer. And that's a shame, because Speedy knows my sister. Speedy knows everybody's sister. Okay. Okay. I love you, dummies. Okay. Come back when you grow up, girl. Earl's been grown. I was born grown. Mom said that. He was a little old man from the time he was born. Yeah, I agree. All right, peace out, man.